Okay, so picture this, a rock falling for 70 straight years, and it still hasn't hit the bottom. It's a pretty staggering image, right? Well, it actually comes from a profound Islamic tradition, a Hadith, which is a recorded saying of the Prophet Muhammad. It's an attempt to describe something that is just, well, it's way beyond our normal human comprehension. So, let's dive in and try to understand what it really means.
I mean, that's the real challenge, isn't it? When you're talking about concepts that don't have a clear beginning or end, things like eternity or the unseen, how do you even begin to find the words to capture the true scale of it all? That's the big question this ancient text is trying to tackle.
All right, so to start to unpack this, we have to go directly to the source, the actual text that gives us this incredibly powerful and, frankly, unforgettable description.
So the text we're looking at comes from a very well-known collection of hadith called Sunan al-Tirmidhi. And this specific narration, number 2575, doesn't just, state a fact. It paints this incredibly vivid picture, one that's designed to illustrate an idea of just immense, almost unthinkable scale.
And this right here, this brings us to the absolute core of the whole tradition. It's an image so powerful, it's really designed to just stop you in your tracks and make you think about something truly staggering.
Just let that sink in for a second. A rock falling constantly for 70 full years. Can you even wrap your head around that? And the craziest part is, after all that time, it still hasn't reached the bottom. This isn't just about a physical distance. It's about a kind of depth that completely shatters our human understanding of space and time.
70 years. The number itself is so significant. For most people, that's a whole lifetime. And that's the point. It's using this familiar span of time, a lifetime, to try and help us grasp something completely unfamiliar, something truly boundless. It's a journey that lasts a lifetime, but never ever reaches its end.
Now, this really powerful metaphor wasn't just left to stand on its own. It was actually reinforced by the companions of the Prophet, people who really understood its gravity. And one of them, in particular, gave a warning that adds a whole other layer to this concept.
This is a statement from Umar ibn al-Khattab, who was one of the Prophet's closest companions. And you can tell he's not being poetic here. He is giving a very direct, very sobering reminder. He takes this abstract idea of an immense depth and connects it to these really concrete and frankly terrifying qualities.
So if you break it down, Umar's warning is really threefold. He points to three different aspects. First, the severe heat. Second, the vast depth, which is what we've been talking about. And then finally, the instruments of iron, which implies something totally unyielding, totally inescapable. Each one of these points just builds on the last to create this really formidable picture.
Okay, so we've looked at these incredibly powerful descriptions. What's the lesson here? What are we supposed to take away from this image of a 70 fall?
And this brings us to the tashrih, which is basically the classic explanation of the hadith. And this is so important. The scholars make it very clear that this isn't a physics problem. We're not supposed to be calculating distance. The 70-year fall is a metaphor. It's a tool designed to push our imagination to its absolute limits, to help our minds grapple with a concept, a severity, a depth that is by its very nature infinite and way beyond our ability to ever truly measure.
And in the end, the source text itself concludes with this prayer, which means, may God protect us from this punishment. It's a beautiful shift, right? It goes from a description that's meant to warn you and make you reflect to a direct plea for protection. The ultimate takeaway isn't to be paralyzed by fear, but to be inspired to seek refuge. It's a reminder that even when we're faced with something truly immeasurable, the human response can still be one of hope and prayer.